Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Entrepreneurs Institute Live. I am co-founder Dr. Nicole Rankin here with my partner and fellow BEI co-founder Angela Hooper Minifield.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to a nice, as I like to say, brisk Tuesday in October. It is so good to be here again this week.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, we were deciding what can we talk about today, right? There's so much going on. We're actually in 4 days into fourth quarter of 2022. So just thinking okay, what is coming up? What are we going to do? What are the things that we have gone through as entrepreneurs, given that time of reflection and, evaluation and assessment? I think that would just be a good, just laid back conversation just to have and just to connect with our audience and on just the basic levels of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. No, you're spot on, Nicole. Even, because of course, as mentors to so many people as well, you and I and Cedric as a part of the BEI, but just people in general, we find ourselves being asked a lot of questions, and a lot of them really go back to lessons learned. Mm-hmm. And, even when you and I talk, even before we started recording, what is happening now in HR practice? It's there are just things that we discuss. And it just made me think that if we're asking each other these types of questions, it's almost like what would be the value, or can we add value by giving people a sneak peek in some of the kind of inner circle conversations that we have. And so one of the things I asked you, so, we'll do a little calling out. I was like, all right, Dr. Nick, do you have your fourth quarter goals?
No.
And you said,
you said not yet. 4 days.
And then that's what I was like, well, girl, we 4 days in, right?
4 days in.
So, but let me just, because I say that in jest, because really, Nicole, up until the last few years, I didn't make fourth quarter goals at all. Mm-hmm. And so that's what even made me think about the fact that that's another sign of some of the growth that I've had as a business owner, because in the beginning, as an entrepreneur, girl, I was just trying to make enough money to pay what needed to be paid, right? I just was there's certain things I gotta pay. And just like last month, I went to ClickFunnels, live, funnel hacking live. And between re-enrolling and coaching, the cost of going, the cost of being there, anything else I bought, I looked, and I think for 3 days straight, I bought next year's ticket on the spot. And I always buy more tickets because, there's always people who want to go with me from our inner circle. Mm-hmm. And I can get the tickets cheaper, right, in the moment. So I'll go ahead and buy the ticket and just say, then they can pay me back. But anyway, so I looked up in 7 days, ClickFunnels, and ran my credit card 3 times. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, oh yeah, you did buy 4 tickets for next year. Oh yeah, you did enroll in this. Oh yeah. So, and so again, so come October, I'm just thinking and it's an American Express, right? So part of my motive, and this is the way I always operate, was I just want to make enough money to pay for the regular stuff, and then anything new or one time that I, said yes to. But over the last few years, I've tried to make annual and quarterly goals. Yeah. But for whatever reason, I really can't explain it, why I always get pumped up about the fourth quarter. Right. And I think we've talked about this before. I'm a big sports fan. I think that does play a role in it because, fourth quarter is no matter what happened in the first 3 quarters, the game ain't over till it's over, right? So you got the whole fourth quarter to correct, if you need to, everything that might have went bizarre or unintended on the first 3 quarters. Yeah. And so I've shared with the Emerald membership, so I'll share it publicly here. So I decided, and this is part, just for backstory, for those of you who are new to the show, thank you for watching. But part of the backstory to my goal for this quarter is because last fourth quarter, I stuck my, stuff out there and I said I wanted to make six figures in 90 days. And so it was $100,000 in 90 days. The end result was 110. And so, I was like on fire, it was exciting. So I was like, I can't do just 100,000, right? Because that feels like I haven't stretched myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been praying over it, Nicole, thinking over it for about a good 30 days because I knew fourth quarter was coming. And I think in this weekend, my husband was in town and we were talking. And I said, I think my goal needs to be 200. And he kind of looked at me and said, in 90 days? And I said, yeah, I think that's where that's the number that keeps sitting with me because I was going to say 150 and it just didn't feel right.
Right.
So I sat with that number through the weekend because I knew every Monday I do the Facebook Live with the group. So yesterday, that's what I told them. I said 200.
All right.
And so now publicly,
all right.
And, as I even said I told my coach that today too, one of my coaches, and she said, well, here's the great thing about doing something you've never done before. Mm-hmm. You'll get a result that you never got before. Mm-hmm. And so I love that because it reminded me that it's still the goal and I'm still going to keep my eye on it and I'll give updates in our membership group every week and stuff like that. But even if I only hit 75% of it, right?
Right.
That's not a bad 90 days. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's my goal.
I love it. And just thinking about goals. So, having goals for the year, I think my thing is now going, and we talked about this, it's learning how to adjust and pivot the goals, right? You keep the goals the same. So I have my yearly goals for the year. So I'm needing to go back and seeing what works, what's not working, and then create that new goal or that pivot goal to kind of assess okay, I need to be doing more of this. Mm-hmm. And so that, I think that's for me where we are. We talked about this earlier, like just the different stages of our entrepreneur journey. So I'm 4 years in and, I would say I'm still new. I keep saying it, I'm still fairly new to the journey. And like you all say, you don't know what you don't know. And so it can get overwhelming, but to be just connected with you and just hearing your growth, that stuff is motivation to me. So I'm like, okay, now I had to.
You are doing it, girl. You are doing it. But the difference. I think so. You remind me so much of me. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is because up till these last few years, I think I was always like close to the cuff with my business. Like, I'll give you a little screenshot. Yeah, I was out in the streets and I did something. But I'd say you're not as vocal about, certain things, right? But I used to be the same way. And I also think what helped me, like going back to what you just said, is Cedric, because Cedric's an open book. Mm-hmm. Like, and he'll send us a note and say, oh, I made $425 this quarter. And I'm like, what is it? Right. Or my stock did this. And I was like, he's so open. Yeah. But it really helped me to be open. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because now that I'm becoming more open and I'm married to somebody who's really close, he'd be like, why are you talking about that? And I'm like, because it helps people. Mm-hmm. But what I'm noticing is just like Cedric rubbed off on me, I'm kind of starting to rub off a little bit on my husband. He kind of talks a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I also think as people of color in general, and this may be in other communities, but I know it's in ours, so this is the one I can speak to. We don't really talk about money a lot,
right?
We hear a lot about who broke and who ain't got, or we hear generalizations, but we don't really talk about numbers. Mm-hmm. And so, even as a parent, I tried to start, like I would show my daughter my investment account. I was like, and I may have said it here, when I left the government, I think I had 526, it was 526, 529. Mm-hmm. It was 520 something. And I remember when it got, as it would grow. Now, recently I ain't looked at it and that's been intentional. But I even remember, when it was my desire for us to be millionaires. And I didn't have the awareness we already had over $1 million. And that's not even talking about like what we owned. It was just like in money. And I was like, how is it that we have more than that? And I had no awareness. And so on the flip side, when I was at Funnel Hacking Live, there was a gentleman talking about like in every family, there's a generation or the person who changes the trajectory of the rest of the family. And for many of those families, it's the person that jumped out into the entrepreneurial, pursuits. And me and my husband was talking, I was like, we're that people for our family, because my daughter, she's going to be a multimillionaire before she's probably 50, just because of the natural course of things, because of all the people and being pretty much operating as an only child for the most part.
Yeah.
Everybody's leaving her everything, right? Like, so she's that kid. And so, and because we don't believe she's going to blow it, we will have made it, but she will be the person who will, her children will definitely reap the benefits of millions of dollars probably being left to them. And I think my parents, and probably yours too, come from generations where we was just happy that we didn't have to pay to bury the person. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But then you're talking about that's legacy building, right? And this is a main thing of building generational wealth, and a reason why a lot of people go into entrepreneurship, to kind of have the autonomy and have that authority to gauge their finances and build to their liking of what they want, as a part of having it dictated to them, right? Because at any time a social insecurity want to take things away, what do people have? I look at my aging parents, and they who have worked all their lives, and now they still, rely on Social Security, but it's not enough, right? So this is where we see people still having to work after the age that they're quote unquote supposed to stop working and just be able to live lives. And so having that just change of mindset, that you want to do something different, you do want to leave that generational wealth for your children and your children's children, it makes a difference. And that just motivates entrepreneurs. And we're seeing entrepreneurship just on the rise. It's now a way of being. People are becoming entrepreneurs left and right. I mean, I love, all ages. And we talked about that. All ages, people are finding ways to do different things. And so I'm excited about that journey, just to see the different trends and mindsets. So just thinking about, even in our culture, the wealth building that is going on. I think just things are changing.
Yeah, I think it is too. And, even when I was thinking, just in some of the programs that we get access to, and the mentors and the education, because it wasn't until this last year that I even had in my realm of thinking, for me, that I could launch something and make as much with like a program launch that I had made at the peak of my career, right? Making six figures for somebody else. I could do that with a product launch, and we talked, I've said this before, like, I'll never forget the first time that our mentor, Paul Martinelli, and this was back when, we were at the John Maxwell team with him, and he talked about a $20,000 day. Nicole, it was the year I had left federal service, and I was, just again, trying to make a portion of my federal salary. I didn't even have the awareness that I could come out the gate and replace it. And when he talked about a $20,000 day, I remember I was just like listening. And I remember when I had my first $20,000 day. Nicole, you could have just, like, I thought I was on top of the world. And which is why, and I think I mentioned this on my 6-figure mentorship call last week. I think Cedric made a post last week about, how you think about how happy you are to make $100,000 until you sit in a room with people who make $100,000 a month. Or 100,000 a week or a day or whatever, right? But for some, and it's not to minimize because we are very aware what the average salary is in the United States, the state of the economy and things like that. but it's more about when you begin to have these different conversations. And so when one of my coaches in my brand management said to me, as we're finalizing for my launch, he was like, I think this is going to be a 7-figure program. I remember I didn't flinch. I was like, yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. And 2-3 years ago, if somebody had said that to me, I'd have been like, you really think that? But now, because again, I'm in these different communities and I look at, like for instance, Russell Brunson has an inner circle and you have to make 8 figures to apply. Mm-hmm. And I look at all the people in the room who's not only in it, but who applied and didn't get in. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm in rooms with people sitting chair to chair, standing in line at Starbucks, right at the hotel. I was talking to a guy. He was he had his funnels had done 25 million. And I was like, I think if you'd have told me 4 years ago, these would be my circles, I'd have said, really? But now it's almost like that should be who I'm running with because that's the space I want to be in.
Right.
So I bring that up to say that's part of the reason why I think 200 is reasonable because my program, and I'm creating a new program titled The Sisterhood of Successful Women. It's a membership program, and I've been posting about sisterhood and women for feels like months now. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the process of recording some Insta courses and different things like that for it. But I honestly believe between now and the end of the year, that program alone will do 6 figures. Mm-hmm. So me saying that I want to do 200 is not unreasonable because I still believe on my own with my coaching training and my other contracts, the other 100 is easy. So yeah, but I don't know that I would have believed that year 2 into entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I say that because somebody's watching right now. Mm-hmm. And they just thinking, Angela and Nicole, I want to just be able to make what I invested to start my business and not have to tell my husband or tell my wife that I'm carrying credit card debt for 6 months on a 20% interest credit card, right? Mm-hmm. And so I want to encourage them because I've been that person. But I also want to tell them, take it off your personal credit card and put it on a business credit card. So at least if you got to pay interest, you can write it off on your taxes.
Right. Right. Quick tip. And again, those are things we learn along the way. Sometimes we talked about this even in our boot camp. For those that don't know, we have a 8-week intensive business building boot camp for entrepreneurs. And we walk them through the process of getting their business established, starting from the basics. So there are things that entrepreneurs need to have to establish a legitimate business that you don't even think about. And again, having that business account and business credit and insurance and all those things are some things that you don't think about. So Let me ask you this, Angela, you've been an entrepreneur for 8 years, is it?
8? Yeah, this is 8 years, or I've hit my 8-year anniversary. So I'm actually in year 9.
So you are in year 9. Wow. Congratulations. You beat the statistics that 3 to 5 years that businesses fail. So what would you say is, like one thing that even as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed entrepreneur, that let's say you kind of realize that you still need to be in tune with as it relates to, like we talked about some HR stuff or, even healthcare, things like that you still need to be on top of as a self-employed business owner?
So it's interesting because definitely, I'll tell anybody, everybody's entrepreneurial journey is different. And I'm fortunate enough to be married. So insurance, like having health insurance, is not a expense for me. But I know for some entrepreneurs it is, right? So, but what I have found to be most interesting about the journey that I think, and some of the laws have changed recently. So maybe I didn't know some of these things early because they weren't always this way. But I've definitely come to realize that how you can apply for things and how the world views the non W-2 worker is a
Mhm.
little different. I've even been working with helping someone that needed some wraparound services during a crisis recently, and they're an entrepreneur, and even getting assistance with housing or getting just some of the basic things that our governments are set up to support people with.
Yeah.
They're less inclined to support people the same way that are not W-2 workers. I
Mhm.
think it's comical because I'm like, on any given day, a W-2 worker can lose their job too. But so the premise is that we're greater risk. Last year I had gone to Florida. I was looking for a house. That was when I was thinking I wanted to move to Florida, but I actually think I want to go to California now. That's a conversation for another day. So I'm actually glad I didn't buy.
Mhm.
But when I was talking to the real estate agent, I mean, he made it really clear to me that as a self-employed person, the down payment that I would have to put on the house was going to be 20%. I was like,
Mhm.
20%? The
Mhm.
rest of the world don't have to put down 20%.
Yep.
And so at the time, I was only going to put my name on the loan because, me and my husband had kind of agreed that we'd have two houses. And since I was the one that wanted the one in Florida or California, then it would be my note.
Mhm.
But I say all that to say I was a little put out because I was like, why is that? Because I know what I make and I know the stability of me. I know my credit score. But he didn't even need to know any of that. Once he knew I was self-employed, the requirements changed.
Yep. Yep.
And so, and I have a cousin now who does, she's been insurance claims for years. And so she decided to do contract work. She can make 3 times as much money being a contractor for insurance companies than being their W-2 employee.
Mhm.
But she found out too, she didn't know. She was like, I said, girl, you should have asked me. She was like, so I got to put down more money to get a house. And she did it and that was the reason why she took the contract work so she could save quicker for the house she wants. But now she got to save more. So these
Mhm.
are things I just think sometimes, so I say all that to say, communities like we built with BEI are places to come because you can talk to other entrepreneurs and hear how they're navigating that.
Mhm.
Another thing that I think we've done a great job with, and Nicole, I know you've taken the lead on that, is our Connect and Collab events.
Mhm.
Because we create opportunities to connect with other entrepreneurs or people who are interested in being entrepreneurs, to have a relationship, to learn more, to just talk and build relationship and rapport.
Yeah.
And we do these spaces and we create this for that very reason because like you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. And the thing about it is a lot of entrepreneurs are independent thinkers. Many are the D-minded, D style, some DCs, but they feel that they have to do this thing on their own, right? It's a
Mhm.
journey that they're gonna have to accomplish. And then when you get out there, you realize that you gotta swim, but we make it built this community so you don't have to be alone, and it's
Yes.
okay that that you don't have to be alone. And that's why I like it. For even for me, being 4 years in, it wasn't until I kind of shifted my mindset, because I was one of those people like, oh, programming, leadership development, and training. Oh, I do that. That's what the government paid me for. I can do that, you know. And then I went out there like, wait a minute, this is different. Like, I can do that part, but there was a whole nother pieces to the puzzle, many pieces to the puzzle that I didn't know and I wasn't clear about. And so, being a part of a community, and not only being a part of the community, but being a part of the community that's going to share the right things. So
Mhm.
that makes a difference, right? You being a part of community, we get involved in organizations and networking groups and all that stuff, and you still know nothing. But being a part of a community that is truly where people truly have a heart to share experiences, share knowledge, that allows you to grow. I mean, that right there is invaluable. And so, that is the community that we created and the environment that we create with the Black Entrepreneurs Institute, and doing that with Connect and Collab, it's more of the same. People come from all over. It's virtual experience. So, just to let the cat out the bag, you better get ready, because we will have our final Connect and Collab for 2022 on December 3rd. So save the date. We'll have more information for those who've had experience. Connect and Collab. Know just a wonderful experience. We have amazing speakers. You get to meet some amazing entrepreneurs, hear their journey, connect. Some people have connected, and businesses have done ventures together, or some people even join the boot camp. So there are so many things that happen at Connect and Collab. So definitely you want to save the date, December 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have more information about that. So we definitely want to give that. So yeah, I love Connect and Collab as well.
I do too. And just for those of you, if this is new to you and you've never been to an event, these events are virtual.
Yes.
So what that also means is no matter literally where you are on the globe, you can connect and collab with us, right? Because we use an amazing platform that's engaging so that we can do speed networking. We can also have a stage where our keynotes and our, presenters and hosts can talk. We can bring you on stage. We just have a great event. So definitely December 3rd, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's something you're not going to want to miss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then speaking of, we are in halfway through our 9th cohort of our boot camp. So that has been an amazing experience. Each boot camp we have, like I said, this is our 9th boot camp. We've been doing this, started in the beginning of the COVID. So 2020, I think is our first one.
Yes.
And, just going through, 9 cohorts, we always say each cohort has a different culture, right? And so we have an amazing set of entrepreneurs who are in our cohort 9. And just even so far, as the aha moments come in, I always say that that's kind of like my favorite part of the boot camp, when to see the light bulb come on for an entrepreneur. And like I said, I've always said it happens at different times, and you can see it. If some may happen in week 1, some may happen 5, but we're week 4 in, and we have people who have found their niche, changed their thought process of what they wanted to do. And because of the teaching and the training, they realized they had to hone in, they shifted their gears. And so, it's amazing the things that we do in our boot camp. And so we have another boot camp coming up at the beginning of the year.
Yes. So we changed our formats this past year and decided, well, one of the things that became real clear to us, like when the world opened up, and we, just like everybody else, was happy to get from behind the cameras. And so while there is definitely some self-paced work within the boot camp, there are times when you're required to be in front of your camera, like we are right now, and be present and, show up to get taught at, deliver your deliverables and whatnot. And the world in the summertime, especially now, people are excited to get out again. We have been cramped up for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And we wanted to honor that and honor people's time as well as our own. But the other thing we thought about is when you think about academia, right? And you and I, you more than me, have spent a lot of time in academia, and currently you're attached to academic institutions. Mm-hmm. And even those, right, they take time off. They have semesters. And so we decided we would do fall and spring, and then give our people, our entrepreneurs, the summer to, enjoy family, enjoy life, but then get into gear. So these boot campers made a conscious decision that they wanted to partake of the fall session for a couple of reasons. One, I think many of them have desires to really make some money in the 4th quarter. Mm-hmm. They will finish before Thanksgiving, which we will have them equipped for their Black Friday offers, right? And so we know that when Black Friday comes and Cyber Monday, people who would typically say no say yes. Why? Because there is just this energy about finding deals and spending money. Like people wait, they sit around like, when is Amazon Prime Day? Or when is this day or that day, right? Because, and sometimes we buy stuff just because it's on sale.
Right.
Because like, I know I ain't the only one that's got some stuff that I bought. And I'm like, I still ain't even used that. I bought it because the price was too good to pass over. Mm-hmm. And so between the sales course in BEI, the moving the comma course, the getting the clarity on who your avatar is, these boot campers will be ready to leverage that. Yeah. Take advantage of those markets as well as end the year with Christmas and New Year's, and then show up in 2023 with some momentum. Mm-hmm. Now, for those of you who are not in the boot camp yet, that's okay, right? Because you can now use this time of year to save your money so that you're ready for the boot camp. So even if you just put away maybe $25 a week, right? Mm-hmm. Catch us at our Black Friday offer or our, we do payment plans or end of year offer. You should be ready to pay for the boot camp. And then come January 2023, guess what? You are ready to get started and start the new year. And everybody loves New Year's resolutions, right? I don't do them, but I do set goals. And I know that I have goals for 2023, and some of you do too. For some of you, it's to retire, it's to transition from your corporate job to your own business. It's to have your dream wedding. It's to get your house. But one of the ways to be able to do that is to leverage the thing that you can, because I can't promise you your job is going to double your salary. But if you leverage entrepreneurship right, your hustle, your passion can make as much money for you as your 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hence, come January, I think it's important that you consider for yourself and your business joining the spring 2023 boot camp. And so, Dr. Nick, I think you have that link that you can share, that you can enroll now. And again, if you need a payment plan, you can also email us at BEIFounders@gmail.com and get that payment plan. But definitely enroll in the boot camp. It's a decision I know you won't regret.
And the good thing, we already have people already enrolled. Right. Yes. So they understand the value because they want to make sure they have a seat at the table. Right. And so, be ready. You say you want to go to another level. You say you want to do this thing called entrepreneurship, right? But there is a way to do it, right? There are systems that you need. There are things that you need to know. And like I said before, we can join a lot of organizations and still invest a lot of money, but still not have what we need to run a business. And so with this boot camp, we've come together and say, what are the things that are necessary? What are the things that you need to be able to function as an entrepreneur? What are the things that you need to have a sustainable business? And put that all together. I mean, from our first session, you'll have people like, oh yeah, I know, I'm good. But by the end, 90 minutes in, they like, oh,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, right? And so, like I said, this is an opportunity, and it's cost effective. That's what gets me. I'm wondering, maybe we're in a ballpark, because as an entrepreneur, I know about how much I invest in mentors and coaches.
But sometimes I do wonder, Dr. Nick, if we was to raise that price, would people be like, oh, okay, well, I got to do it? Because I watch people pay $25,000 for what we offer for, everyday price for $697.
Yes.
And it's really true. But we did it that way for a reason, because we saw these same people out here just, strapping themselves and just, going into more and more debt.
Right.
And they never made a dime. And so we were like, well, why don't we make something that's accessible
Yes.
that adds a lot of value
Mhm.
because we want it to be a solution to the problem that is. So, like I said, a lot of people done joined 20 programs and ain't made $1.
Zero.
Mhm.
Zero. But still swear by those programs. But it's, it's okay. So if you want something different, and I say different because not because I am one of the mentors in the program, but I learned myself. Like I tell you guys that I still say I'm new, 4 years into entrepreneurship, and I'm learning from Angela, learning from Cedric, learning and just doing the work, the things that I teach and I do. We are products of the products, right?
Yes.
And so we know it works. And so it's an amazing how everything is set out. Everything is strategic. Every week builds on each week. It's very systematic. And so if you wanted to take your business to the next level, our tag is like to elevate your mindset and your money, then start off 2023 in the boot camp.
Yeah. You made me think about too when you talked about just things you don't know. I think I had told this story Tuesday night too, but early in my business, because I had been government for, that was my sweet spot because I spent 28 years in the government. I had my share of government business, and girl, in 2017, the government shut down.
Yeah.
And I remember it vividly because I couldn't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having to call my credit card company and just asking for permission to make my payment later. And of course, they denoted my account because I didn't want, late fees, but also when you miss a payment, it impacts your credit score. So they were very thoughtful. But I say all that to say, I remember thinking, I don't ever want to be in this situation again. So as much as I love that government money, I gotta have other money. So I need to diversify my business.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things we talk to people about in the boot camp because nobody had ever talked to me about, government. Even though I knew the government could shut down from having been a federal employee, I never went without. Like I never missed a check. So I never saw it that way. But you already got sometimes a 30, 60-day pay. And then you add the inconveniences of a shutdown. And, for businesses who are small and who may be more hand to mouth, many of us can't afford that. So I say all that to say it really taught me a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
And these are some of the small lessons that I can say, again, we impart, we pass along to other people when we look at their business model, who they serve, how they serve them, and make suggestions about where are the spaces and places they can diversify. So you need monthly return income, one-time payment. Paul always taught me about having stuff at different price points. So have that $19 offer, but have a $20,000 offer too. These are things, again, if you're not honored or able to be in these circles with these kind of people, you just don't know.
Right. And so even so that we taught today just micro streams of income, right? Having a business, but having multiple streams within your business. People don't think about they have, putting all their eggs in one basket, but think about how can you diversify even within your business. Within your business, you can do, do a one-off course. You can do a book. You can do a full course. You can do speaking. There's so many things that you can do within your business to have those multiple streams of income. So we talk about that, and we go into deep in the boot camp about that as well. But again, you don't know what you don't know. So if you are wanting to take that next level, but if you don't, it's okay. It's your choice. But this is for those that are ready. And we have soon to be 9 cohorts of people who have all testament of what the boot camp has done. And so we know that it works. And so we want to see you in the boot camp. Go ahead, get registered. I'll put up the link again. For those that are ready, go ahead and enroll. And then also, if you haven't experienced, I want to mention Connect and Collab again. Go ahead and save the date, December 3rd, 10 a.m. Mark it on your calendar. Come to Connect and Collab, hang out with us, have a good time, meet some other amazing entrepreneurs, and come open. Come with questions. Come looking to learn and looking to gain. And this is again a no charge event, virtual event, so it doesn't matter where you are. We've had people from all over 50 states coming in and sharing their experiences, having laughs at the lounge, speed networking. We have amazing speakers that come and share helpful tips to help us along this entrepreneur journey. And it's just a family. The BEI is a family. That is the core of our existence and our mission, not only to elevate mindset and money, but to do it in a family base. So it's a wonderful experience.
It really is. It really is. No, I'd agree wholeheartedly. I look forward to it every quarter.
All right. So I want to do something new. So for those that, you all see Angela in the light of mentor and coach, but let's do something fun.
What am I in for?
So you can get, she's a real person, right? And the great things that she does and Cedra does, they're real people just like you. So we're going to get to know, this game is called, How Do I Know? And then so I'm going to ask you a question and things to get to know you. And I'm just going to spit them out, and whatever first thing comes to your mind. All right.
She know better to do this to a C. Look, we like a structured plan. I'm like, this wasn't in the plan. Okay, go ahead.
Rock a little bit. All right. If you can invent a new dish, what ingredient would you have in it?
A new dish?
Invent a new dish.
Probably shrimp. Like,
okay.
That's one of my favorite foods. I love shrimp.
Okay, shrimp. All right. Those didn't know she likes shrimp. I'm allergic to shrimp, so don't give me no shrimp.
Okay. Well, I won't have you over when I make my new dish.
I won't be over. All right. If you can completely get rid of 1 month out of the year, what would it be and why?
So my first instinct was to say July, only because July for me is a very emotional month, but I love the summer. So I'm like, no, I really couldn't get rid of July. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking maybe November.
Okay.
And that's mainly because that's when the weather really changes, and I tend to have bad migraines in November.
Makes sense. What's the funniest place you ever fell asleep?
What's the funniest place I ever fell asleep? Probably in a movie. And it would probably be an action movie too. Like it was like loud and everything happening, and I was in there knocked out.
Okay. I think I slept in a movie too. Probably one of a Marvel movie. I'm not a Marvel person, but
me either.
Yep.
I go to right. Just out of obligation, but go ahead.
That part. Okay, what's your go-to dance move?
I'd say something that probably got some hip movement, because we got the hips, so like any kind of sway. I think about hitch, right? Like with something, with a little hip movement.
All right, got the hip movement 2-step.
That's right.
All right. So what's the funniest thing you've ever heard a child say?
That's a good one. The funniest thing I've ever heard a child say. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank for that one. I might have to come back to that one. I'm gonna be like the game show pass. And it's something that'll probably come to me after it's not the topic, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
All right. What's the worst fashion or hair decision you have made?
I'm sure there have been plenty. For me,
did you rock the asymmetrical
I
bob?
was good in that asymmetrical bob. Now, wait a minute, like that was going
The
on.
bamboo earrings that you know.
Oh yes, yes. Probably the thing that comes to mind is when really short, like minis and stuff. And it wasn't because it was a bad look for me, but it was just because I was so uncomfortable. And so, that was the season of life when I learned that everything isn't for you, even if it, because even if it looks appropriate, because if you don't feel comfortable in your clothes, it's not going to be a good look for you. So yeah, I've always been more of a conservative dresser. And so the few times I've tried to, play with the styles and wear things that were probably less conservative, I don't think those were good decisions for me.
I got it. Awesome. Well, there you have it on the episode of Get to Know Angela.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That is too funny.
I love it.
I remember something funny I said as a child that I got mocked at, actually. So I was like, I had to be about 3 or 4. And this was, we were at home watching TV, and it was during the Nixon's impeachment hearings. And my brother asked my mom, he said, "So is this going to be the end of Watergate?" And I remember replying, because, I thought I was a little smart. I was like, "No, silly, they got to save some for the next president." And everybody in the house laughed. And I remember I got mad and started crying because I was like, why are they laughing at me? Because I thought it was a smart answer. I was like, "No, silly." They got to save some for the next president. Exactly. Because I didn't even know what Watergate was, right? I thought it was like, I don't know, a program or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was something that I did. And then I remember the time when I was little, a bird used to sing at my window early in the morning and just make so much noise. And I'd never been an early riser. I've always been a night owl. So even as a little person, I would be up to 2, 3 in the morning, listening to my handheld radio in my ear, well, AM radio, Captain and Tennille and all that stuff, because that's all that played on the AM radio. So this bird kept making all this noise outside my window. And Dr. Nicole, one day I got tired and I cursed the bird out. I mean, I put it.
I never thought about that one, did you?
Girl, when I tell you, I and my brother we got my mama, let her hear me. I got my tail whooped. And it's so funny because, now, it's, but I had heard a lot of cursing growing up, so I knew how to curse. But
let it roll.
Girl, I cursed that bird. And, in hindsight, like, what is cussing the bird out? And they gonna make him stop singing at my window, but I wanted to go back to sleep. Girl, that bird wouldn't leave me alone. I cussed that thing out for everything I could.
That is too funny. So all of this to show you guys that, normal people doing great and extraordinary things. It can be done. So it can be done. Even if
you're a little bad child that's cussing out the birds.
Curse out a bird. You can be an amazing entrepreneur. Whatever your lived experience is, it can be done. So yeah, we like to have fun here on the Black Entrepreneurs. It doesn't have to be serious all the time.
That's right.
Entrepreneurs, we need that balance. We need that time just to have fun, let loose. So yeah, this was an amazing experience. Good episode, good show. Just to chop it up as entrepreneurs and just talk about our experiences. So as we get to the close, I want to make sure that you remember, save the date for Connect and Collab coming up December 3rd. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. More information will come out, so you can register for that. And then also for our next boot camp cohort number 10, registration is now open. So you can go ahead and get in early. Don't wait till 2023. Don't wait till January. Be you ready, right? When the opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So go ahead and enroll now. And Angela did tell you, even if you need a payment plan, go ahead and let us know about that as well. We are accommodating. All right. So
yeah, and we do have a real quick, a 20% discount on our regular price. So that's a great opportunity for you to jump in. And then last but not least, follow our Facebook page. And that's the Black Entrepreneurs Institute, but follow the three of us as well. Dr. Nicole Rankin, Cedric LaFleur, and myself, Angela Hooper Minifield, because we, as Nicole said, we live out what we teach. So we don't tell you one thing and do another. So not only will you get benefit of the teaching, but you'll get benefit of seeing us navigate it, right? And I think there's a lot to be said to the proximity. So, it may feel like it's not close, but we reply to people, you comment on stuff, we comment back, you got a question, we'll help you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. We'll see you. Remember, this will replay at 3. I always forget that. 3:30.
3 p.m. Sunday.
I always get that wrong. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. So you guys have a good one. Have a good night.